Welcome friends to Ishwapuriji's Bhandara 2024. We have been celebrating Bhandara every year since our master, beloved master Ishwapuriji, whose picture you see here, he passed away in 2020. We were all very surprised at his sudden demise, but he was pretty old. His body was giving up. We were just celebrating his birthday that year. I happened to be near him when he celebrated his birthday in one of the office locations in Schaumburg. I could feel that he was aging rapidly, and I had known him since 2014. 2014, I got a chance to meet this person who, looking back, has transformed all of us in some ways. For some, you can see it outside. For some, you can feel they have tremendously been changed from inside. And I've seen him progress when he was in mid-80s, how he looked, how he walked, how he smiled. And as the years passed, I could feel him changing, and he started using his cane to walk around, and his teeth got taken out because of his knee surgery, and then he had difficulty sometimes saying things, and he would say, am I being understood well? Because there is a hissing sound coming when his teeth was taken out. So he was concerned about that. So, and looking at his energy, nobody could make out that he had turned 90. And it was so surprising to still act as if he was just an adult. He could, if his body allowed, he would do everything like a normal person would. But we could see that he needed a little more rest after every meeting. There were changes happening that people who were close to him could perceive. And even doctors had said that his heartbeat was not consistent, so there was something to be worried about. But this man left a lot of impression in our mind, and we are here meeting to celebrate not his passing day, not his death anniversary, but we are trying to remember the message that he left for all of us. He was here in this country to do a very vital work for all the seekers. Great master, long time back, when conversing with American disciple who had just come to Dera Byas, Julian Johnson was his name. He was conversing with my master's master, Huzur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh Ji, and he was telling, Huzur was telling Julian Johnson that how spirituality is about to shift to west from east, and that was going to be a big change. And he was preparing a lot of souls to get ready. And Julian Johnson was one of those souls who came to India to take this spirituality from east and take it to west, because there were a lot of seekers who were desperately seeking for message of spirituality and were willing to embark upon that path. And so the whole continent was getting ready. Europe was already in transition, and you could already see that a lot of folks in India would find themselves amongst some of the Western disciples. People from Europe, America would constantly make visits. I know a lot of satsangis here, they themselves in their early life made a visit to India to be in the company of these great masters like Ishwapuriji and his master and many other masters. This is not happening for the first time. As Master Ishuji used to say, that as long as people have walked this planet and have been seeking, there have always been a master. It need not be from East, need not be from India, but they have been wherever the seekers were. And it is said in in Indian spirituality that when a chela is ready, when a disciple, when a seeker is truly ready to walk the path, that's when masters appear. And sometimes they appear miraculously by taking birth in that place. They have normal human bodies like we do. They are born in challenging circumstances. Whatever the circumstance the seeker is born in, masters take the same birth in the similar manner, or they sometimes migrate like Ishu Puriji did after his retirement. But he has been doing his work in India as well. He met his master long time back, and when he was 29 days old, that's when he first met his master. But Ishaji used to say that even though I met my master when I was 29 days old, my master knew me much before. And when Ishaji was about to be born, and when his mother related a story of the dream that she saw as to how a doll in the dream was raising his hand and was giving lecture, great master, upon hearing this, he said, yes, he has been doing this work in the past life, and in this life also he would be doing the same thing. And we all can attest to the fact that he had been here for almost 40 or more years. He had traveled to this place multiple times. He had been to Harvard to study, get his master's degree. And so he has been master of not only spiritual realms, but the ordinary life as well, that people here spend all of their life achieving things, achieving some goals, success in business, studies, administration, and whatnot. So to me, when I look at Ishupuriji, I cannot fit him into one bucket. Every time I talk to him, I feel like who is this person? I didn't even know that he had these facets in his life. And so every meeting with him was so remarkable. At this event, I thought I would love to hear a lot of stories from people who have been closer to him for a much longer time than I have been. I just came to know about him through YouTube, like most of the audience. But there have been people who have known him when YouTube did not exist. It was just one-to-one relationship back then. Maybe people meeting in Pizza Huts or other places where you can have pizza, and so where there was no distraction of cell phones or other things happening, and you could just focus on one-to-one relationships. So I thought that I would spend these weekends hearing from some of those people. Maybe we'll go out for lunch. When we have lunch, I can meet with them and get to hear some of those very personal stories. Because when I used to attend Bhandara, when Ishwaji used to host Bhandara events, I deliberately came to hear some of the stories because those stories so inspired me. And I would, most of the time, probably I would be absent when the lecture is going on. But whenever there is a new story that popped up, my attention would be back, and I would carefully listen to the stories. So I thought I'll get a chance to meet some of you who I haven't met or haven't talked to in detailed way. And at the same time, maybe I'll share some of my personal stories as well as an inspiration to people who did not get a chance to meet Ishupuri in person, or maybe met just few times, but they were wishing that they could spend a little more time. So I'm very fortunate that I somehow, through coincidence, luck, God's will, who knows, only Ishwaji knew what was happening. But everybody, has their own unique story in this big game that is being played, and we just feel like a pawn in this game, playing a character, and we are being driven by whatever else is happening in our life. We seem to be totally out of control. But destiny puts us somehow in this place, and there must be some reason. We cannot really account for it because we do not have an idea of what has happened in our past life. But nevertheless, there was a seeking because of which I believe that we are here. And Ishwarji always emphasized that you don't need to go run around and look for truth, look for answers. The answers are within you. And if you just have a seeking, the answers would come to you. As I was saying earlier, when the chela is ready, because of the core inner seeking of not finding after searching for a long period and still remaining unsatisfied, that's when the call is heard. And when at the time the chela becomes ready to do whatever it takes to get that knowledge, and turns inward and somehow guided from inside. So I thought I'll share some of those stories. They are not very remarkable, but they are unique in my own way. This is personal stories, so I thought maybe I'll share some of those. So like most of you or newer satsangis that I run into, they have heard of Ishwarji through YouTube, or maybe some close friend of them who also turned to YouTube and discovered Ishwarji, and they started sharing. So the same thing happened to me as well. It was a long time back. It feels like 2014, actually 2013, sometime September, October time frame. I was doing some search on YouTube. I was trying to look for some way to increase the concentration that I had at that moment. I wanted to read a lot of books. That's the only means I knew how to acquire knowledge. And in the profession that I was in, I wanted to grow quickly, and that required absorption of more knowledge. That means more reading of books, papers in a shorter amount of time. And there was a yogi in India called Ramakrishna Paramhans, and there was a wonderful disciple of him who came to this country, and he talked about how to acquire. He, through his own efforts and through guidance from his master, Ramakrishna Paramhans, started touring this country, and he was very famous for some of the stories that happened in his life as he toured around this country. His name was Vivekananda, and as he toured around this country, he mystified people through some of the powers that he had, and he attributed all those powers to a lot of sadhana, a lot of meditation that he did in his life. And he could just look at books, volumes of books, and one of the toughest materials, scientific literatures, whatever it is, he would just hold the book between his palms, and that's what people say, but he would absorb all that material, and in matter of hours, and anybody, he would challenge, and as people would hear about this story, they would they would question whether that's in fact true or not. They would not believe it, so they would quiz him as to really, if you truly say that, okay, you can answer anything, you have absorbed the material, let me ask you some questions. And people would challenge him and ask him, they would turn the page and ask him some question, and then he would immediately reply. He would even give the page number and the paragraph in which the answer exists. So growing up, I had heard some of these stories, and in my free time, I would just look up some of these stories, just as a interesting anecdote, what sadhus can do, what realized person can do, what meditation can get you. So I was looking for some of those tidbits, and as I started searching on YouTube, power of concentration, and this gentleman popped up, a handsome old man, and then I went to the next search page, search listing, and he showed up there as well. And there was a time, the length of the videos was what piqued my attention, that somebody is talking for 2.5 hours or 3 hours sometimes on a variety of interesting titles. It was very close to what I was looking for. Power of concentration. There was a title about that as well, and 5 levels of creation, and various other ones. So after going for a couple of search pages, I decided that okay, I need to listen to what this man has to say. 5 levels of creation, and I listened for 5-10 minutes, and that was it. I could not stop the video. So that's when my journey started. I got completely hooked, came back home, shared with my wife, and we started watching like a maniac, in and out. That we had a large TV in our living room, and we would and YouTube was there, and we would be playing day in and out. So from the time I came back to home from office, it will be on while eating. It will be on before sleeping. 1-2 o'clock. It will be on, and pretty soon our son got sick and tired that okay, mom and dad have gone mad, and he would listen. For several days or weeks. He tolerated, and then we had occupied his premium space. Which is living room. That's where all his activities would happen. He would play on the Wii. All video games. PS4, 5, various other things, and watch cartoons. And we had taken over from him, and we had occupied it for weeks altogether. And so that was not fair to him. So finally we realized that, okay, we need to give him his space because he was becoming, he was letting us know that he was upset. And so finally we yielded, and we moved to the bedroom. And I still remember during the weekends, we would be completely in the bedroom with the door closed, so that the sound of him playing different games it doesn't bother us, and our videos don't interrupt him as well. And we would be watching and looking for newer and newer videos that we haven't seen, newer ways of him explaining in super simple way, without any crutches, without any baggage. When you try to learn about Indian spirituality, especially through Western eyes, it can be a very uphill task because there are so many terminologies you need to understand first before you have a decent understanding of what the subject matter is about. And yet, on the other side, you can just start listening to Ishiji's lecture without any baggage, without any understanding of any Indian spirituality, and yet comprehend the material in 1.5, 2 hours of lecture, and be thoroughly convinced that he's the man. He knows what he's talking about. He has been there. He has experienced everything that he's talking about. So there was an authenticity in his voice, in a way that he communicated it, and one did not have any history lessons of how the spirituality came about, and it was not founded in a religious dogma, as all the religions turned into after some time. It was open for anybody with any skin color, any age, any gender, from any country. It had wide acceptance, and it turned out that he was not saying anything different than so many other masters, true masters, have been saying in the past. His master, Sawan Singh Ji, he also got the same message from his master, Baba Jaimal Singh Ji. And Baba Jaimal Singh Ji got the same message, the same teachings from his own master, Seth Shiv Dayal Singh of Agra. And although it is not very well known who his master was, all masters say that without a master you cannot gain this knowledge. For you to have a knowledge and be completely free, self-realized, you cannot walk this path without a master. And so importance of master is considered, given a very great importance of a living master. Uh, Ishuji, through so many examples, he narrated how important role of initiation is. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But that's how my life started unfolding, by watching a lot of his videos. And I, like most of you, when you find anything interesting, you delve deeper into that and try to figure out what's going on. So same thing happened to us. When can we meet this person, who has been associated with Radha Swami Vyas? I mean, I did not even know about Radha Swami, even though the Bhakti marg is prevalent in India. And there are so many paths in India, so many diverse approaches to finding spirituality. And he was this man who had done everything, including trying out various other religions. He himself gave a talk where he went into a lot of personal details about how after he met Great Master, and Great Master initiated him at a very early age of 9-year-old, when most of the kids used to get half initiation, and he was given a full initiation by Great Master, Huzur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh Ji. Because you can see his picture here, a very tiny picture. And so Ishuji was initiated by him because according to Great Master, he was ready to have the initiation. He was completely ready to walk this path. But somehow people who were informed about his full initiation, they sowed a seed of doubt in Ishwarji, saying that it was just because you were born in this family that was following Radha Swami, now you were also adopted into Radha Swami path. You never got a chance to try out anything else. So how do you know whether this is the best path? And Great Master had told him at the time of initiation that this is the best thing that he got from his master, and he gave a permission in advance to all the disciples who were being initiated to find anything that is better and to let him know if they could find anything better. So Ishwarji took that as a challenge, and he, according to his own narration, that he got baptized, he converted into Islam, he practiced many religions himself, and he did various kind of yogas and asanas, and he was talking from his experience. So for 8 years he struggled to find a truth, because he took that as a challenge, that yes, I have to find something better, than what he was inducted into. So after 8 years he realized that there was nothing that he could gain, and came back to Baba Sawan Singh Ji, and then seriously started practicing this path of Surat Sabd Yoga. And so I mentioned Ramakrishna Paramhans. What attracted to me about Ishwarji's discourse was that he also, similar to Ramakrishna Paramhans, who had also he wanted to also test out whether path to God is just unique to his path that he was following, or it is available through other means, through other religions also. And he himself converted and lived a life of a person following a different religion. He was a vegetarian, so when he converted into Muslim, he would not partake in meat, but he allowed those ceremonies to take place, and he conducted like a devout Muslim, devout Christian. And so that was past. Ramakrishna Paramhans lived almost 200 years back, and here I could meet a person who actually in his own life had done that for 8 years, trying out various religions and seeing for himself what worked for him. And he could talk to others who were following different religion and have a very good conversation and good maybe argument and discussion, and could relate to other person. So I never thought that I would meet anybody of that caliber, who actually has done that. So I wanted to meet that person, after having seen a lot of his discourses, but not meeting him was not an option. And I could already feel life changing for me as I watched more and more of his discourses. Something started shifting in me. I remember that I used to have a lot of dreams, even before meeting Ishwarji, but those would be sort of fleeting dreams. You wake up in the morning and you try to recollect, you're just trying to hold on to whatever you remember from the dream. And some of them, if they have a radiance in the dream, if they're vivid, you could still remember them. But there was nothing great about it. And I thought, as time passed, after meeting Ishwarji, I started realizing that the depth of some of those dreams had gone up by several notches. They were more vivid in nature. And earlier I used to believe that dreams are just like a figment of imagination. The mind just creates it randomly. And if you talk to anybody with a focus in science, they can tell you that there are, in the brain you have so many synapses. They are responsible for communicating the messages from the different parts of your body. A signal ultimately lands in your brain, and that's where it is interpreted. So when you're sleeping, all these things bodily functions are going on, synapses are firing. So your mind somehow computes the signals that are happening as maybe series of pictures, and maybe we have some intention because of which we end up creating these wonderful dreams that we see while we are dreaming. When we wake up, we don't remember any of those. Maybe there are some vivid dreams that we end up remembering. But what I remembered was right after meeting Ishwarji, right after seeing Ishwarji's video, this probably a couple of weeks had passed after I had bumped into his video, and I saw a very interesting dream. And although my faith on him was great, that he used to narrate so many stories about great master and talk about initiation and various other things, I got, maybe there was a part of me that was still not sure, or it was Ishwarji who wanted to reassure me about who he truly was. So I would say it was him that gave me some glimpses of him, because I didn't know how to meditate. I didn't have any inner experiences in meditation. I was not an adept by any means, nor am I right now. I'm just an ordinary, satsangi like all of you, just trying to do some seva for my master. So one of the experiences that I still to this day vividly remember, and I ended up sharing with my wife, because we used to tally, what's happening in our life after we met, after we found Ishwarji through YouTube. And so I recounted one of the dreams that I'm maybe a 12, 13-year-old boy. In India seemed like a village scene. I'm standing next to a unpaved road, and with a small, trunk and top bare naked, and I'm just wondering where the sound is coming from. So I'm hearing this wonderful sound, this musical notes are playing, and I'm trying to think, where is this sound coming from? And I'm looking all around, I cannot make out, so I still stand next to this unpaved road, and then I see in a distance that some activity is happening. And that's when I realized that sound is coming from that side. So I keep looking, and after waiting a little longer, I see what looks like a couple of people or a group walking towards me. And as the time passes, the group comes closer. So I realize that there is some procession going on, some religious activities taking place, and people are celebrating that. And as the whole group comes closer, I realize that they're pulling a huge statue in what seemed like a bullock cart, and there's a dance going on in front of it. There are drums being played, there are musical instruments. So it's the whole thing happening right in front of me. And so the whole scene comes close to me, and I look at this huge statue. It's a statue of Ganesha. It's an elephant god, with a huge belly. And so it comes close, and I'm just marveling at the size of the whole statue. It's still vivid in my recollection. It's a huge statue just going right in front of me, a little bit, maybe 10 feet away. And I see the details of the statue, and somehow my gaze gets fixated on his huge tummy, and then somehow I get, I get transported right inside. My vision expands. I go inward, and I'm peering into his tummy, and I see, as my vision is expanding, I'm going in. I see that there is a man sitting inside, So I'm just looking at his profile, and then somehow I get closer, and as I get closer, I realized there's Ishwapuri sitting inside Lord Ganesha, and I was stunned. And as an immediate reaction, maybe I was trained, or maybe I learned from my parents. When you meet somebody elder, or somebody who is sadhu, Mahatma, somebody who you feel that has extraordinary power, instinct is to just touch their feet. So that's what I ended up doing, and got up in the morning. I remembered the details as if it just happened right now, after waking up. It probably, I could not remember some of the details if it happened in my real life, but I still remember some of those details, how, I went in and was able to have his darshan. So in the morning, I wrote a mail to Ishwarji, saying that this is what happened. And immediately came a reply saying that I was happy to meet you in your dream. I'll be happy to meet you, in a couple of months. And because we had been just planning that, okay, we have been looking at ishanews.org and trying to see if we can meet him, when we can meet him. We found out that he goes around the country and different places and gives his discourse. And he was about to come to Southern California. So we were quite excited, and so we had already registered, and so he acknowledged that, okay, I'm going to be, meeting you. So we were very thrilled, and so that day also came when we were about to meet him in Huntington Beach, 2014. It was February, and we started from hotel, and I think 11 or so the event was supposed to start. And somehow we didn't plan for the traffic in Southern California. So if you've been to, Southern California, you would realize that, you cannot plan for that. If you have to take any journey and that takes, let's say, half an hour, you better plan for 1 hour or more. There's always construction going on. There's always a lot of traffic light. But we were not aware, so inside roads of Huntington Beach. Anyway, we started from the hotel, and we thought we were gonna, be late for the event. But we kept on hitting all green lights. We could not believe it, And of course, by then we had heard a lot of Ishwarji's story, and we knew that, the miracle is happening right in front of our eyes. And we reached the venue quite early. And we were able to register, at the front desk and talk to a few people. And that's when I saw Ishwarji step down from one of the vehicles. I think Boris was one of the organizers in that event. So he stepped out of Boris's car. And that's when I saw him for the first time. And I still remember how he stepped down and how he looked. And so I got his darshan, not drishti yet. Everybody got back, got into their seat. It was announced that, okay, Ishwarji's here, go take your place. So we all took our place. And pretty soon Ishwarji, walked into the auditorium. And I don't know, something came over me. I just jumped out of my seat, although I think people have been told not to go near him. I just could not hold myself. I just got up, I went to him, He was walking in, I touched his feet, asked for blessing, and I thought probably I'll get rebuked, for bad discipline, but he looked at me with very kind eyes, with a lot of compassion. He smiled, and I went back into my seat. It's generally, in India, as I was saying, that it's a customary for followers, disciples, seekers to touch any sadhu or any saint, saintly person, because you don't know who is a saint. It doesn't hurt to get their blessing. If it turns out that he is indeed a saint, he can change your life, he can transform your life. So, it was a little embarrassing, to go up there, but I was willing to take all kind of embarrassment, So, because they can completely. We are caught up in the cycle of, they call it 84 lakh, 8.4 million lives. So we are caught up in that. So the law of karma is so relentless that it doesn't leave anyone. And Lord Krishna, he used to, as Ishaji recounted so many times, that it's very difficult to understand karma. Somebody who you see as an ant, he might have been a ruler of this universe. He can be a creator of this universe, but yet, in due course, whatever he had done would be paid off, and then he will back to starting point, or could be like an ant. So somehow, this is, while growing, it is bolted onto us to think in that way, that ultimately our goal in this life is to seek and get out of this misery, because this is never going to end. Whatever you earn has to be spent here. Whatever positive merit you get or whatever negative things you get, you have to pay it off. Otherwise, it keeps accumulating. And it accumulates to such a degree, according to Ishwar Puriji, that million lives can be even created out of those sanchit karmas. So all the karmas that you're accumulating by doing positive or negative deeds, they are all piling up, and you have to pay it off. Even after your death, you're not done. You have to come back, relive the life, depending on whatever you have created in your storehouse of karma. You need to accordingly pay for it. And Kal is ruthless. You have to account for each penny. He's not going to leave any soul without clearing his balance. And he rules this world. So Ishwarji used to talk about the importance of initiation and meeting a master. Only after meeting a master, you can get initiated, and through that he can take away some of the sanchit karma that you have. And so with that hope, we went to meet Ishwarji and got a chance to see him one-on-one. Well, I wanted to somehow in my heart, I didn't have the courage to meet him one-on-one because I wanted to ask him for initiation, and I was worried that what if he said no, So I could not bear the rejection. It so happened that a lot of people had come to that event, and we were asked to go in and meet Ishwarji as a family, and I was quite relieved. I knew that he would not reject my wife, and so so by default I will also get accepted. So anyway, we walked in and we asked him for initiation. We said, okay, put me in any list that you have. I don't care, list A, B, or C. It would be better if you put me in list A. And so he laughed. He said, okay, come for Bhandara. That's when I give Great Master's initiation. And so that was our first meeting. And talking about initiation, soon after in 2014, during Bhandara time, I got lucky. He accepted me. He asked few questions, just as a formality, I believe, because masters say that Ishwarji used to say about Great Master through some examples that when Master sees you, he exactly knows who you are. He doesn't look at this body. He looks at your karma, what karma you have to pay off. And they don't pass judgment on you, whether you're a good person, you're a bad person. They only look at how the karma has to be paid off. And I consider this as one of the most important events that can happen in anybody's life, to get initiated. We truly don't understand. Even I did not understand for a long time, even after my initiation, what it really meant. I thought it was just, Ishwarji being very nice, he's accepting us as friend. But what's happening inside us that we cannot see, what's happening at astral level, how he has placed himself within you, and how he's taking in charge of everything that is happening to you. I could not fathom that. Over a period of time, as I heard many stories, talked to many people, I realized that, Ishwarji as a living master, what he was doing for all of us, and there was no way we could understand that and appreciate it. Through some of the stories, that I learned later on, it occurred to me that it's a tough job. What they do for us, it cannot be returned. You can only acknowledge it somehow and surrender yourself. I'll share one of the stories of Baba Jamal Singh Ji. He was master of Baba Sawan Singh Ji, and he was also initiating people in this path. And one time, one of the disciples, requested him to come to his town. So Babaji used to stay on the bank of Byas River in small hut. There were 2 huts at that time. He used to stay in one of the huts, mud huts, and there was another hut where Bibi Ruko used to stay. And Bibi Ruko used to serve Swamiji at Agra. But after Swamiji's passing, she was given order to serve this master, Baba Jamal Singh Ji. Anyway, so Baba Jamal Singh Ji was invited to a different town to give discourses. So this was supposed to be a month-long affair, that he would stay at this place and give discourses, because a request was made by one of his disciples. So he went there. He was giving discourses every day, and a lot of people, who were seekers, were coming to him and asking for initiation. He would initiate them. There was a seeker who also came, and he was a senior accountant in one of the military organizations, and he requested master to initiate him. And Baba Jamal Singh Ji, tactfully declined him, but this guy was persistent. He came the next day again. Babaji, please initiate me. He said, no, I cannot initiate you, and this is not your time yet. So, he was disappointed. He went back, but he was friend to the host, and he requested the host to plead Babaji on his behalf. So, we all do that, right? So we have friends, for whom, we want to make a request or, pray to the Lord to take care of him. So this host goes up to Babaji and says, Babaji, would you please, accept him as your disciple, initiate him? Babaji said, well, I cannot initiate him. You bring 1,000 other people, I'm willing to initiate them, thousands of them, but accept this person. And but this host was very insistent. He said, why not? Why can't you initiate him? He said, he has heavy karma, and it's very difficult to take over that karma. And he is destined, okay, I'll say this part later, and so, but he said, the host said, if he has such a heavy karma, then who can take care of him except you? I can't think of anybody else who would be willing to initiate him. So at this, Babaji thought for a second and said, okay, but I have some condition. I'm going to initiate him, but here are my conditions. As soon as the initiation is done, I'm going to leave this place immediately. You have to get my things ready, and I'll leave this place, and nobody should be disturbing me after that. And so this person, host, accepted those conditions. He said, okay, please initiate him. And so all the arrangements were done. His horse carriage ride was made ready. His beddings were all folded and ready to go. And he was initiated, and immediately Babaji took off in the horse-drawn carriage. He went to train station, and he took the train station back to Bias. On the way, on one of the stations, he met Sawan Singh Ji, who was disciple back then. And he hadn't become master yet, but he was a devout follower of Baba Jamal Singh Ji. And every Sunday he used to go to Bias to see him in person and listen to the lecture and do seva. Sawan Singh Ji used to do a lot of seva in Bias when Baba Jamal Singh Ji was there. And so Baba Jamal Singh Ji tells him not to come to Dera the next Sunday. And Baba Sawan Singh Ji was stunned that this was the custom that he used to follow, and what has happened now that he is not allowed to go back. But that was the instruction of his master. So anyway, so the train left, and it reached Bias. Babaji got down, and his body was hot like a furnace. He had caught severe fever, and people who were around him could feel the heat emanating from Babaji's body. And Baba Ruko saw that, Bibiji Ruko saw that, he was having a fever and asked him to take medicines. And he said, no, I cannot take any medicine. For next 12 days, I'm not going to take anything. And for next 12 days, he had a high temperature, high fever, and he suffered through that. And on 13th or 14th day, his fever magically disappeared. And so, and later on, when Sawan Singh Ji asked him why he had, forbidden him from visiting him on that Sunday, then Baba Jamal Singh Ji, gave him the explanation that he had taken over the karma of a satsangi who was destined to be in hell for 7 lives and was to be burnt in the fire by Kal for 7 lives. So by taking upon that karma, which was a heavy karma, somebody's 7 lives, we have difficulty living, a day, when we are faced with severe challenges. If your foot is hurting, or if your head is hurting, or any kind of pain, psychological issues, right? We have a lot of difficulty. Imagine living a whole life in hell. We cannot even imagine, right? If a finger is burned or cut, we have tremendous pain. And yet, Babaji, took all that upon himself and freed that person of all sanchit karma. So everything that he was destined for just in that life that he was living, he had to carry out, and anything that he would accumulate, he was responsible for that. But still, Master would be placing his image in them and guiding them from inside. So, looking back, when I think of these things, in fact, Ishwarji himself, when after I saw a few times and heard that somehow his energy would deplete at the end of, giving initiation, and he would, people told me that, he would just go back to his room and sleep, but in normal course of a day, he would be pretty agile. I remember right after 2019 Mitti Seva, I somehow was led up to Ishwarji's house in Bruce, and I was there to do some seva duty, like so many of us go there during Mitti Seva time, and I was trying to fix some Wi-Fi issues, and somehow Diane comes by and leads me up at the house, and I try to ask her, well, I'm supposed to do some, Wi-Fi seva, why am I going up there? And she ignores me, She said, no, come, And then she takes me to Ishuji's house. And so I'm shocked that this was my first time, going into that house, and it's like a temple to me, where your master stays, master's family stays. We back in India, we revere these things, we treat that with a lot of respect. Anyway, I was led up there, and I was trying to do some work, and then Ishwaji came out from the bathroom, and he pretended as if he didn't know what was going to happen. Oh, Jagannath, you are here. How come? I said, oh, Ishwaji, there's some Wi-Fi I need to take care of. Oh, you can do that work from here? I said, I don't know. I'm going to try, I think it should work. So he pretended not to know, and I just found out recently that he was the one who had called me. He had given instruction to Dan to bring me up there. So, he was quite mischievous, So anyway, so we talked for some time. He actually gave me the tour of this whole house. He told me the history of, how different people at different time had purchased the house. He talked about how different people had variety of experiences in that house. He talked about Donald Ullaberry, who was Ishuji's driver, would have multiple experiences in that house. He would know what's happening everywhere in that house, even though he was sitting in one corner of the house. So that house carried a lot of, importance in my heart, and so I was very lucky, and Ishwaji also gave initiation, I believe, in that house for in early days when he was here, and so I was fortunate to be initiated in 2014, and after that, like everybody, I also tried to wake up at 3 o'clock and try to meditate and follow everything that he was talking about in his discourses. But sooner or later, I realized the limitation of that, and I would be puzzled by his section of the discourse where he would talk about love and devotion, and he would always emphasize that that's the most important part of this spirituality. The meditation is just for the mind, and there I was, trying to meditate, waking up at 3 o'clock, and like everybody, me and my wife, and then after an hour or 45 minutes of struggle, we'd just go back to sleep, and then would have wonderful dream after that, and we would talk about those dreams, that I saw light, I saw color, this happened, I was jumping from here to there. So no real meditation, but we got the fruits of that somehow, through our dreams. That was wonderful. That went on for a long, long time, and I would come every now and then for monthly satsangs to hear him, to see him, and the curiosity was developing inside. The inner flowering probably was happening, as it happens for a lot of disciples who are seeking, and things around me had also started changing. The circumstances I felt was becoming sometimes challenging for good. When it is challenging, that's when you want to get rid of those situations, to find a new chapter. So I found myself in the midst of some of those. I was trying to grow my career, and then I got caught up in the politics of having a career, And later on I found out that this aspect never goes away as long as human beings are there. You know, even in spirituality, we don't leave some of those aspects that we find in normal life, in corporate life, when you're running a business or anything, same things happen here also. It's just that it has a nice cover that, okay, you are following spirituality, but inside the cover you are still thinking about, having, stabbing someone or talking ill about somebody, or how to get ahead, how to hold the mic, how to, have your presence felt. Those ambitions don't go away. But being in a corporate life, somehow I just wanted, all the backstabbing to stop, and wanted to be left alone. Let me do my job. Let me take care of. And I was somehow made manager. So I felt, I have to take care of a lot of conflicting requirements. I have to take care of my team and also fight some other battles, to protect my team and also grow my career and normal routine. So I was getting sick and tired of that, and I thought, I've been working too hard, I need to take a break. And it was summertime, and then thought occurred to me that Ishiji used to go with Great Master to Karachi, to his uncle's house, where Ishiji narrated some stories about Swami Brahmananda, who used to practice Ayurvedic medicines, and was a teacher of 6 centers. So I somehow remembered that story, that for vacation he used to go. And I just wondered to myself, I wish I could have that similar vacation. And it was summer, and I wanted to take a vacation. So I talked to my wife. She said, oh, maybe Ishiji, let's see what Ishiji's plans are. And so I went on to ishanews.org, found out that he is going to Europe. And yes, we of course wanted to go to Europe as well. So somehow the plan seems to align. But, I looked at the timetable, and he was about to leave in a week or so, and there was hardly any time left. So I tried to register. I could not register. I sent a mail to Ishwaji saying that, remember how in your discourses you used to talk about those wonderful times when with Great Master you traveled by train to Karachi, and you talked about, what happened in Karachi, how you met Great Master, got a blessing from Brahmanandji, and so on. So I immediately get a response, and he said, yes, you can come along and join me. And so we were totally surprised. We were so thrilled. I mean, in fact, I was very hesitant, in sending him mail, because there was hardly any time left. And I thought, even if he wanted to make room for me, he will have difficulty, so I didn't want to put him through that. And as soon as he accepted, we were static. And he gave us detail of, okay, how to make the hotel arrangement and all that. I think it was Jonathan probably. Anyway, I took out my credit card, I logged in, found the hotel, I booked the hotel, and after a couple of days, I get a call from UK, and this lady is looking for me. She asked me some questions. Did I make a reservation? I said, yes, I did. She said, are you sure you want to stay here for a month? I said, month? No, I just wanted to book it for a week or a few days. And I was so excited that I did not even see how long I was making the reservation for. So I ended up, at that time, I didn't even see how much, the bill was. It was £5,000 or something like that for a month of stay. And I didn't even look at that. I was so happy that I could be in his company. So, so we ended up going to London, and after, as soon as we checked into the hotel, we got an email from Ishwaji saying that did we reach London properly? Are we okay? And he asked us to take a little bit of rest before he would see us. And so it surprised me that he's out of his busy schedule, he's taking out time to send a mail and making sure that we are okay. And so it somehow touched our heart that somebody would take care of us like that. And so next morning, again, registration was an issue, but he intervened and took care of that. He asked the organizers to make some room. And so we go for satsang the next day. There were a couple of days of satsang. Wonderful organizers. There was a wonderful meal prepared. I mean, I don't remember anywhere else having that delicious meal, So it was a satsang of probably a few hundred people attending. So we're just sitting, waiting for Ishwarji. And the organizers comes and calls me and my wife's name. Anybody from California, Jagannath and Manisha here? Like, oh, they're calling us, So I tell my wife, yeah, we are here. And so we get, we are called out of that group, and apparently Ishwarji wanted to meet us. So we got out. Our son was also there. We came running to where he was parked, and so with my instinct, I just want to go grab his feet, touch his feet, get his blessing. So I run towards the car. My wife behind me, and my son even further behind. He was playing somewhere. We called him, and so I, the door, what I thought was passenger side was open, but there was nobody sitting on the passenger side. The person, Ishwarji, was sitting on the driver's side. Like, why is he sitting on the driver's side, And so because I could not touch his feet, he was on the other side, and so I was like let down that, oh, he's not here. I could not touch his feet. He extended his hand from the other side, and I then realized that, oh, I'm supposed to shake his hand. So I shook his hand, and I still remember the touch. It was a little cold hand, very frail, and he held my hand and he said, I was really touched by the email that you sent me, because I reminded him of Great Master, and his trip to Karachi. So he truly appreciated that, and he said that I'm going to spend a lot of time in this trip with you, all of you. We'll have dinner, we'll have lunch, we'll have breakfast, we'll spend a lot of time. And it, of course, came as a huge surprise that he would offer so much time to us because of just one request we made. Because I used to, later on, I found that a lot of people used to travel with him all the time. And somehow, he accepted my request. People used to just tag along without telling him, maybe, and I didn't know any of those formalities, so I just went ahead. And he accepted that request. And we were so thrilled that he would actually give so much time. The fact that he said that he wanted to spend so much time was good enough for us, at that moment. Anyway, we went back, we shared information with Diane, and satsang happened. At the end of the day, we go back to our room. In the evening, we were wondering what's going to happen next. And I hear the phone ring in the room. And I'd never heard the phone ring in that room, so I was startled. Oh, the phone is ringing. So I just immediately picked up the phone. And there's a person on the other side. He's telling me that, okay, here are these restaurants I've been advised are good. And which one do you want to go to? And I hear the names. And I was just thinking about what kind of name is this? Restaurant name, I'm just trying to figure out in my mind. And at the same time, respond to the query of this man who is saying which one I want to go to. So I'm trying to do some parallel processing. It must have been a couple of seconds, but it felt like, a few hours to me that I kept thinking about the name and which one I was supposed to choose. Anyway, whatever name I was thinking about, I said, okay, that seems interesting. we can go there. Then I realized that it was Ishwar Puri who was on the other line. Before that, I could not even make out, who was it, because I've never heard him over a landline, and it sounded a little different than you would speak to in person. So anyway, and then after finding the name, I went online, figured out, okay, actually this is what it's called. Fortunately, I can't recollect the name now. And so something came over me, and I decided that I should call in advance and make a reservation. Normally, I don't do these things, and I had no idea about what kind of restaurant this is. But something told me to, go ahead and, make a reservation. So I called at a time, told them, okay, we are party of 5, and made the reservation. And I also booked Uber, I'm never this disciplined, but on that day somehow, I acted exactly the right way. So, it was, Ishwarji said, okay, let's meet at 7 o'clock, and, we were ready in the evening. Toshiji was also there, and, we touched her feet as well. And, we went off to this restaurant, and as we got down from the Uber, what we see is there is a sea of people. There are a lot of people gathered around, and they're trying to enter the restaurant, or they're waiting for the place. And I was shocked that how are we going to enter? Where are we going to wait? Because not only Ishwarji, but Toshiji was also there. And I could not just let them wait standing, because most of the people were standing. There was hardly any place to sit. There were 1 or 2 benches, but those were occupied. And sort of a feeling of fear came over me. I panicked inside. But at the same time, I gathered little courage, because I thought, okay, I had made the reservation. So I went inside the restaurant, went to the counter, and Ishwarji was following me. And as I enter, I see again a lot of people. Whatever space was left, they were all occupied. There were a lot of people, and so there was hardly enough space for a person to walk in. Yet I walked in, went near the counter, and I told the gentleman that I have made a reservation, and he asked my name, and he said, yes, your table is ready, please come in. I was so stunned. Here we are, we just got down from the Uber. There are probably 30, 40 people waiting in line, waiting to go in, and we show up and our table is ready, and he just took us right there. So I was in front, Ishwarji walking, and all of us, we sat down. We had a wonderful, it was mostly one-way conversation, us telling Ishwarji about everything that has happened in our life, and mostly shouting on top of each other, our son, me, my wife, trying to tell our, story, and trying to share everything. And that was extremely wonderful. One anecdote from that, Ishwarji ordered dosa, and dosa is like a crepe, with some potato filling, it's potato and vegetable. It's a very light, and because he had lost some teeth also, so I think for him it was easier to eat dosa than let's say a roti or bread or naan. So he had ordered dosa, but the waiters told us that sorry, the dosa is not available anymore, and we were disappointed. So Ishiji ordered something else. So anyway, 15-20 minutes, all of our order came. Along with that, dosa also came, and somehow, whatever God wishes, He's given, So we saw that miracle, miracle after miracle happening in front of our eyes. I think it was just His grace all the time, that made the situation so much easier. And the next day, he said, okay, we are going to meet you. I'm going to meet both of you for breakfast, at 8 o'clock. And, we had spent the night, we had dinner together. And then as we dropped him in the night, we saw a bunch of people sort of hanging around his room, trying to get his darshan for the night. And Ishiji, Toshiji, went into their room, and these people, huddled up, and then, they greeted Ishiji and Toshiji, and then finally left. So the next morning, 8 o'clock, we decided to take the elevator, and elevator stops midway. Ishiji gets on board on the same elevator. I'm like, wow, what a timing, And then we go to the floor where breakfast is served. And as we are getting down, Ishiji looks at me and tells me, everything that you told me about what has happened to different people, different people's experiences, you can find all of that in here. You don't need to go anywhere else. So he was taking every opportunity to remind that, you have everything. All you need to do is turn your attention inside, and everything can be found. All that's needed is attention. And we have all the answers. We are carrying this whole temple in our head, and we are running around trying to find the answers. Bulle Shah was one of the poets, a famous saint, mystic. He had composed a lot of devotional songs and a lot of Punjabi songs, and he had said that you have read thousands of books, but have you read yourself? If you just read yourself, all your quest will come to an end. All your answers will be, all your questions will be given answer to. So Ishwarji reminded me of that, and a lot other things that hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to share with you. At this point, I'll end today's satsang, and I just wanted to also share a little bit about a moj that has been expressed. I've been given order to go and give satsang not only in Chicago but in other places also. So pretty soon I'm going to be going to India for some time, and I'm going to meet folks in India. And there is a large followers of Ishwarji in India, so I'll get a chance to meet all of them and share my story as well. So if people who want to have satsang, at their place, please reach out to ishanews.org. You can reach out to Bill Grout or send a mail. You can find the contact information at ishanews.org, and I'll be happy to serve you. I'm serving my master by serving all of you. Ishwarji used to say that when master is not around, it is best to serve the disciples, and that's the way to serve master. So I hope you can forgive the small mistakes that I've made, and bigger mistake, blame it on him, and I hope I'll see many of you tomorrow. Okay, with this I'll end today's program. We'll have lunch, and after that we'll go to Zoom, where people will get a chance to give their tribute to Master on this day when shower of grace is flowing all the time. All we need to do is have the attention at the right place, thinking about Master and nothing else. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay.